Before we start, I want to bless Sean and his wife and the kids, that they should have a lot of bracha in this house. The Gemara says, Meshane makom letova, Meshane mazal letova. So Hashem should shine on your mazal, should have a bracha from the kids and see them grow to Torah and chuppah u'masim tovim, and have a lot of nachat from them, see them going into a chuppah and marrying, and parnasah should be beribui, should be an abundance and easy, and shlom bayit and health, and not only you, the entire family, everybody should have everything that your heart desires, should be berevach. Berevach should be in a big abundance. Bezrat Hashem. So I think what we're going to do is we'll do a short class, something that I think is very important, and I know everybody can benefit from it. And then after that we'll do some questions and answers, and Bezrat Hashem, after that we can pray. There is a certain mitzvah that we start the day with. And if this is the mitzvah that the Torah started, that's what we start the day with, then we know that there's something to it. And there's a certain mitzvah that we start the day with, and this is the mitzvah of washing our hands, of netilat yadayim, and it affects the entire day. And the fact that our sages added this mitzvah to be one of the first mitzvah in the day, that's already showing the importance of this mitzvah. Now, why is it so important? Because we know that when a person goes to sleep, sleep is considered 60th of a death. When a person goes to sleep, he's considered like he's dead. And our sages say it's shena ze echad mishishim mimita. It's 60th of a death. Then you wake up in the morning and there's impurity on the body. Because at night the soul leaves the body. When the person goes to sleep, the body stays on the bed and the soul leaves the body. Goes up to Shamayim, first of all writes down a journal what he did that day. That after 120 years when you go to Beit Din, they tell you what did you do in your life, and they pull out a journal of what you did your entire day, your entire week, your entire month. Not only that, the same way that at the end of the day your cell phone runs out of battery, you plug it in. You want it to have full battery in the morning. Same thing here, you charge your neshama. So a lot of things are happening at night when you go to sleep. But when the neshama, the soul, leaves the body at night, then the body is vulnerable, just thrown on the bed, and all sorts of powers of impurity and demons and spirits, they come and they attack the body. And it brings a lot of impurity on the body. Now, this impurity is a very powerful impurity that, first of all, the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning, you have to remove it. Now, in the Bet HaMikdash and in the Mishkan before that, the Kohanim, before they used to go to do their service, they used to wash their hands and also wash their legs. We don't wash our legs anymore. Now somebody not too long asked me, if the Kohanim wash their hands before their service, how come, and then they wash their legs, how come we don't wash the legs? So the Ben Ish Chai explains that the tum'ah, the impurity that's on the legs, is so powerful that we can't remove it. When we had a Bet HaMikdash and we had Kedusha, then they were able to move it with washing the legs. But now when we don't have Bet HaMikdash, the impurity that falls on the legs is so powerful, the Ben Ish Chai says you can't remove it with water. Bechlal, I explained that once in more in depth in one of the classes, that when I go to sleep and my soul leaves my body, then in the morning the neshama, the soul comes back into the body. The neshama, it goes all the way till the hands and till the legs. The neshama doesn't penetrate into the hands. And that's for when the neshama comes into the body and it removes this impurity, this tum'ah, but it's still, the tum'ah is left on the hands and on the feet. But nevertheless, we don't wash our feet, mainly because the tum'ah is so strong. But we definitely wash our hands. Now when you look at the mitzvah, it's a very interesting mitzvah. You wake up in the morning, you don't have to say a bracha. You wash your right hand, then you wash your left hand, then you wash again the right hand, then again the left hand. You're looking at the mitzvah, it's a very interesting mitzvah. And there's different customs. Faradim, they wet their hands, they leave their hands wet, and they say the bracha. Ashkenazim, they wipe it, they lift their hands a little bit higher. Different minhagim. But nevertheless, this is how we start our day. Now, There is a verse in Tehillim 36, Lamed Vav, and it says, "Hityatzeb al derech lo tov, ra lo yim'as." If you place yourself on a bad path, then you bring on yourself a lot of bad things. A lot of people, they have different issues, health issues, parnasa, can't find another half, all sorts of problems. I don't know people that everything, their life is smooth. The Zohar explains that when a person wakes up in the morning, if he walks 4 steps without washing their hands, he's chayav mita b'dei shamayim. He's obligated for death by the heavenly court. And that's not only the Zohar says that, also the Mishnah Berurah says that you can't even walk 4 steps. Even the halakha says that you can't walk 4 steps before you wash your hands. The Zohar explains on this pasuk that hityatzeb al derech lo tov, when you put yourself on a path that is not good, it's talking about in the morning, when you get off the bed, you put your legs on the ground. You know, the minhag Hasidim is you wake up in the morning, right away you wash your hands. A lot of what Anshei Maaseh, people that have a lot of Yirat Shamayim and God-fearing, they put a bucket next to their bed, and when they wake up in the morning, they wash their hands on the bed. They don't take their feet down. Why? Only because what the Zohar says that when you put your legs down, if you put your legs down on the floor and there's tum'ah, there's impurity, the whole day is malchus. The whole day is not good. So I'm sure that sometimes you have days things don't work out. You go to open the car, can't find the keys. You're coming with a few things in your hand, boom, the phone falls on the floor. You drive around, you didn't even go out from the neighborhood, boom, a policeman stops you with a ticket. Yeah, the day didn't start it. You already have I don't even know how you say, you have it in Parsi, malchus. So malchus is bad luck. And what's going on today? So yeah, exactly. So, and sometimes it's in the beginning of the day, sometimes it's the whole day, sometimes at the end of the day. And you ask yourself, what's going on today? Well, is something going on in the air? Sometimes it's according to what the Zohar says, the way you start the day. You know how when you start a business, you start a partnership, you want to start on the right leg. You have a new home, you put your leg first in. A bride and groom, they get married, when they go into the cheder yichud, to the room, they go into the right leg. It's also different customs, bride and groom, they get married, when they come to the home, right in the right leg. You want to start with the regel yamin, with a lot of chesed. So, many different sources explain how you start the day makes a huge difference how you lay down the entire day. Now, if you put your legs down on the ground in the morning and right away you don't wash your hands, then you carry this impurity on you. And this is a very simple mitzvah. It's not that you're required now to spend 2 hours in a synagogue and read 500 pages. It's a mitzvah that takes you exactly 30 seconds. Now, first we have to understand also what is this power of the water that has in it to remove impurity. Because impurity is something that is hard for us to understand. How can something become impure? And if something, I don't see it with my hands. Why certain things receive this tum'ah? Now, not only that, we have to understand what's this tum'ah, what's the power of impurity. This is something that it's very hard to us to understand, but a lot of what's going on in our life is affected from either purity or impurity. A lot of people, unfortunately, how they talk, that's very impure talk. Every word that comes out of their mouth is a curse. They lie, they cheat, lashon hara, slandering. You bring a lot of impurity to your mouth, then it brings this tum'ah on the person's body. Then the thoughts become impure, the actions become impure. And needless to say, it brings a lot of evil and bad and negativity. Now, when we want to understand really the power of the water against the tum'ah, this impurity, there's a symbol in our faith that most people can't figure out what's the power of it, but many people, I'm sure you notice, walk on them on their chest with a Magen David, with the Star of David. And in many places you see that what will be the symbol of Yahadut, of Judaism, they put a Magen David. A lot of people don't understand really what's behind the Magen David, what's the mystical power of it, where did it start, where did it originate. But there's so many different interpretations about the Magen David, why we have it and what's so special about it. But if you want to look at it in a more Kabbalistic way, the Magen David has a triangle that is going up and a triangle that is going down. The teachings of Kabbalah explains that we are operating on two levels. One level is called the intellect level. This is called in the term of Kabbalah mochin. Mochin is the intellect part in me. And then another part that I operate on is called midot. Midot is my attributes. The mochin is in the head. The mochin is broken into three groups: Hokhmah, Bina, and Da'at. Hokhmah is the right side of the brain, Bina is the left side of the brain, and Da'at is the back side of the brain. And then you have the midot. The midot are in the heart. Also in the teachings of Kabbalah, there are 10 sfirot, 10 emanations through these sfirot, these tools. That's how the Kadosh Baruch Hu governs the world. It's almost like a CEO or head of a company, that he has his vice president, he has his president of sales, this guy is in charge of inventory, this guy is in charge of marketing. Kadosh Baruch Hu has, so to say, these powers, how he controls the world. And the Kabbalistic term to it is called Eser Sfirot, 10 emanations, that there are separated into 3 of them that are intellect, and 7 of them are the attributes. Now, even in our Torah, there are 2 ways how we apply the Torah in our life. One way is that we learn Torah. Some people learn Torah all day long. Some people don't learn Torah at all. But in our Torah, there are 2 things that we need to do. One of them is learn Torah, and then the other part is performing the mitzvot. Some people, they just learn Torah. Some people just do mitzvot. Some people learn Torah and do mitzvot. Some people don't do nothing. Not Torah and not mitzvot. In a month and a half, Be'ezrat Hashem, we're going to celebrate Sukkot. And in Sukkot, we have a very beautiful mitzvah of shaking the lulav. Around the lulav, we have hadasim and aravot and a etrog. And this represents the 4 types of people in our faith. The ones who learn only Torah, the ones who do only mitzvot, the ones who learn Torah and do mitzvot, and the ones who don't do nothing. So nevertheless, in the Torah, there's the part of us that we learn Torah, and for that you have to activate your intellect. In order to learn Torah, you need to activate your mochin. I know some people, they go and learn Torah and they don't understand nothing. But in order to understand something in the Torah, you have to make sure that your mochin, your intellect, is activated. Now, the other part is that we have to do is to activate our midot, our attributes. One attribute is the midah of chesed. Somebody comes and asks for help from you, you want to help, you're activating your kindness. Another time you need to educate your kid and he's becoming too wild, you have to apply gvura, severity and judgment. No, you put your foot down, you can punish the child or whatever it is to educate him. You're not doing it because you're mean. When you educate your child, it's not because you are mean or you don't like the child. You want to give the child some education, that they know what to do and what not to do. But in order to do that, you need to actually operate with a person. When it comes to learning Torah, I can learn by myself. I'll close myself in the room, close the doors, take a book, and I start learning Torah. I don't need somebody else. But in order for me to do anything that has to involve in it the midot, I need a person. How can I do chesed with no person? Who am I going to give the tzedakah to? If I want to give charity, if I want to help somebody, I want to educate somebody, any type of situation that I need to apply my midot, I need to do it with another person. Can't be by myself. This is the difference between the 2. I just need to know that sometimes my day has to be around learning Torah, and sometimes my day has to be about activating the midot. Now, we know, for example, our teacher, our master, our leader, Moshe Rabbeinu, we call him Rabbeinu. Other people don't understand why we call him Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was a king. We should call him like David HaMelech. We should call him Moshe HaMelech. Or Moshe HaNavi, like we call Eliyahu HaNavi. We see that many of our heroes in our past, they have a definition. Avraham Avinu, he was the father. And Aaron HaKohen, he was the first Kohen. And Yosef HaTzadik. So Moshe got the title Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu means our teacher. And Moshe Rabbeinu was known that he was a shepherd. In Hebrew, a shepherd is said ro'eh. Now, ro'eh, you can explain it as somebody that sees. And also, a shepherd is also ro'eh. You write it the same and you say it the same. This is ro'eh tzon, he's a shepherd. And ro'eh with the eyes, somebody that sees with his eyes. This is Moshe Rabbeinu. In order to learn Torah, you need to have this power of vision. You have to open your eyes, or more to say, open your mind, in order to receive what the Torah tells you. If a person learns Torah and he doesn't receive what the Torah teaches, and he's not going to enjoy anything, he's not going to benefit from it. That's why a lot of people don't like the Torah. Because they learn, they don't see any common sense here, any reason, they don't get it, and they don't like the Torah. But that's because their mind was not open to receive what the Torah has to give. Now, in order for me to go into the side of Kedusha, of holiness, then I have to have my mind open. There's two powers that are, so to say, controlling the world. One power is called Kedusha, holiness, and the other power is called Tum'ah, impurity. Wherever I will place myself, that's where I will be. If I hang out with a crowd of bad people, then that's who I'm going to hang out with, and probably most likely will get in trouble, and it's not going to end good. But if I hang out with the right crowd of people, then most likely that's where I'm going to end up. Same thing in the world. If I align myself to the side of Kedusha, of holiness, then I will be affected by the Kedusha. If I align myself to the line of impurity, that's what I'm going to be affected from. Now, the Zohar says that every place in the Torah that it says the word Kadosh, Kadosh or Kodesh, Kadosh means holy, Kodesh means also holiness. The Zohar says that everywhere that it says the word Kadosh, it's referring to the symbol of Hokhmah. Hokhmah means wisdom. Now, it can be wisdom that a person is smart, or also, like we talked about, the intellect part within me that is called Hokhmah. Now, where do you find this holiness? Holiness is where the Kadosh Baruch Hu can dwell in. Some places you go to the synagogue, you feel, wow, it's a holy place. You go to certain places in the world, you go to Yerushalayim where the Kotel is, you feel the Kedusha there. And some places you go, there's no Kedusha. You go to a casino in Atlantic City, you're not going to feel Kedusha there. I have a friend that now went to a convention in Las Vegas, and he's a Shomer Torah and Mitzvot with a beard and everything. He says, there's no Kedusha there, this is Tumah. You just go there in the streets, all you feel is Tumah. There's nothing Kadosh there. He's like, it's the Tumah there is so strong, I didn't even want to put tefillin on. He's like, I got to get out of here. If I'm going to be here a few more days, that's it. I'm going to shave the beard off. Some places you feel the impurity, and some places you walk in, you don't want to move. You're like, wow, this place is so Kadosh, it's holy. Now, a place that doesn't have Kedusha is a place of Tumah, of impurity. Sometimes people are sensitive, they can feel it. Sometimes people are not sensitive. But the Tumah affects you. This impurity affects you. So suddenly your mind starts thinking not holy, and your speech becomes not holy, and your actions becomes not holy. Now, what is the most impure state? It's called mitah, death. The highest level of impurity, this is called Av Avot HaTumah, the fathers of all impurity, this is death. Whenever there's death, there's the most impurity. That's why when we touch a dead body, we get impured. Any place that you'll find a dead body, there's a lot of laws in regards to Tum'at Met. We know in our generation we all have this Tum'ah on us, this impurity. The doctor just delivers the baby, he just touches the baby, he already moves the impurity straight away to the baby. Now, Met is also called in the Torah Halal. This can be found in Parashat Chukat when it's talking about the red heifer. It's talking about a dead person, and the Torah is using the word Halal. Halal in Hebrew is space, or a void. So, Halal in Hebrew, what it means is an empty place. It's not necessarily only a space, but Halal in Hebrew is an empty place. You walk into a room, it's completely empty, you call this place Halal. It's a place of nothingness. Now, what is it empty from? It's empty from Kedusha. It's empty from Elokut. Sometimes you can go to a place, it might be beautiful, but if there's no Kedusha in there, it's considered empty. And then you feel this emptiness. Sometimes you feel it on people. Sometimes you meet an individual and you feel the person is a holy person because he has a lot of Kedusha, prays a lot, learns a lot, does a lot of mitzvot. And some people, you talk to them, you feel this is empty of nothing. There's nothing there. Now, the place that has the most impurity is a place that is empty from Hashem. You know, a lot of people ask me, what is the worst sin a person can do? So, there's different, some people say Chilul Shabbat, some people will say murder. really one of the worst, if not the worst sins that one can do is called Chilul Hashem, desecrating the name of Hashem. It's such a severe sin that you can't do tshuva in this world for it. If a person did Chilul Hashem, he can't do tshuva. He has to die. He has to die, and only the death will atone for this sin. And unfortunately, many people do Chilul Hashem. They go in the street with a yarmulke, and then they curse, they steal, they cheat. Now the whole world looking, look at this guy with the beard and the yarmulke, look at how he's behaving. This is one of the worst sins one can do. You need to do something bad, at least get the yarmulke off, shave the beard, at least do it quietly. Not the whole world is going to see what you're doing. And unfortunately, many people fail in Chilul Hashem. It's a severe sin. Why is it called Chilul Hashem? Lechalel in Hebrew is to desecrate, but it comes from the word halal, that Hashem is not there. Hashem is not in your life. So you're able to chas v'shalom desecrate the name of Hashem with behavior. Now, when a person is sleeping, the intellect is completely shut down. This is called in the Kabbalistic term Gilui Hokhmah. When I'm awake now, if I'm sitting like this right now with my mouth closed, you don't know if I'm smart, if I'm not smart. You know when you see somebody's wisdom when they start opening their mouth. The Mishnah says, Sayag lechokhmah shtika. You want to show somebody that you're smart, be quiet. You just open your mouth, that's when you show somebody how smart you are or how not smart you are. So, better to be quiet. But the Hokhmah, this intellectual engine in my force, when I'm asleep, it's completely numb, doesn't function. How do you know that? Go to a person who's sleeping, start asking them questions. They don't answer. You'll get a snore, that's what you're going to get. So that's where you see the intellect is completely shut down. The system is working. The heart is pounding, the lungs are pumping air in and out, the organs are working, but the intellect is completely shut down. You can't ask the person a question, you can't get anything from the person. So when the person is sleeping, the intellect part, the Hokhmah, is completely not revealed. It's completely numb. Now, when there's the lack of this revelation of Hokhmah, it's called halal. It's called emptiness. There's nothing there. The person is like a dead body. And this is the concept of death. This is why our sages say that a person who's sleeping is like 60th of a death. Now, this is called tum'ah. When there's no Hokhmah, there's no intellect, this is called, the term to it is called tum'ah, impurity. Now, the Shlomo HaMelech, the smartest man in history, in his book Kohelet, so it's difficult for me to say that the word in English. I think it's called ecclesiastics. Ecclesiastics. I always break my teeth to say that. In Hebrew, say Kohelet. Shlomo HaMelech says in Kohelet, "HaChokhmah techayed ba'alea." The wisdom is going to enliven its owner. So when a person acquires a lot of Hokhmah, then that's what gives the person the energy and his life force. Now, how do you remove impurity from your life? We all have different types of impurity. The only way to remove impurity is water. If a woman has her cycle, what does she do when she's done? She goes to the mikveh. A person, now we don't have that. When a person had tzarat, leprosy, had to go to the mikveh in order to remove it. When you have impurity on your hands, you wash your hands. This is the only way to get off the impurities, with water. And why? Because water symbolizes, again, this Hokhmah. Why? Because water doesn't have taste, doesn't have color, doesn't have a shape. Water is simplicity, something simple. Now, how do you remove this impurity from your hands? Then you take this cup and you move it from the right hand to the left hand, and the left hand washes the right hand, and then the right hand washes the left hand, and then the left hand washes the right hand. You have to do it 3 times. First of all, the question is why 3 times? So the teachings of Kabbalah explains that when you wash the right hand, the impurity, jumps to the left hand. So you wash the left hand, it jumps to the right hand. But it only can do that 3 times. After 3 times, you cancel it. But not only that, you see that you take the right hand is corresponding to chesed, to kindness. It's also a symbol of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was Isha Chesed, he used to be ultimate kindness. And the left hand is presented by Gvura, by severity. This is a symbol of Yitzchak. And he was, it's called Pachad Yitzchak. He was only Dinim and Gvura. So the right hand, first of all, the hands, we know that there are continuation of the heart. A lot of people think the heart is on the left side. Ask a doctor, the heart is in the center. I don't even know why people think the heart is on one side. But I explained once to a very special Jew the importance of putting tefillin, and he didn't want to put tefillin on. Yeah. So I told him, listen, if you don't want to look at the spiritual part of tefillin, look at the physical part of tefillin. Doctors prove, there's a research that shows that observant Jewish men have a very small percentage of heart attacks. And when you compare it to the rest of the people in the world. And why? What's the explanation to that? Doctors explain that when there's pressure on the hand every day for a couple of minutes, it pushes blood very strong into the heart, and men who put tefillin on, they're in a much lower risk for heart attacks. Look at all the Jews, how much junk they eat, all the greasy food, and this is not healthy food. Some of them are very, very overweight, and Baruch Hashem, in the group of men, Orthodox men, there's not a very high level of heart attacks. But nevertheless, I told this man, listen, doctors prove that when there's pressure on the hand for 5-10 minutes every day, how do you have pressure on the hand? You put tefillin on. When you put tefillin on, when you put it right, there's pressure on the hand. So much more so when you do it for a whole 45 minutes when you pray. But it pushes blood very strong into the heart, and it strengthens the heart. So he was trying to be tricky, and he told me, but I'm a lefty, so I put tefillin on my right hand, and how is it going to affect the heart? So I told him, because your heart is in the middle. The heart is on the left. I told him, no, go ask a doctor, go Google it, forget about the doctor, just go not to Google. You'll see the heart is placed in the middle. It's a little bit tilted to the left, but the heart is in the middle. So the hands are a continuation of the hearts. Also in Kabbalah, the teachings, it says in the Zohar, how every organ of us is compared to one of the sfirot. So we know the hands are what's called hemshechiyut. It's a continuation of the heart. You can ask a doctor, the lo aleinu, and chas v'shalom, when a person gets a heart attack, he has pains in his hands. Sometimes people think it's the left hands, but I have a friend who's a cardiologist, he told me no, when people get a chas v'shalom, a heart attack, both hands, there's pains in the hands. Lo aleinu. But nevertheless, the hands are a continuation of the heart, so the tumah is on the hands. So I have the right hand, which represents kindness, chesed. The left hand represents gvura, severity. Right hand is Avraham Avinu. Left hand is Yitzchak Avinu. But nevertheless, I have two hands, and they're sharing the tumah. They're throwing the tumah from side to side. There's a very interesting story in the Gemara that it says that when Mashiach is going to come very soon, there's going to be a very big meal, a very big feast. And of course, everybody will be in this feast. Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron HaKohen, David HaMelech, everybody will be there. And the story says that somebody has to do Birkat HaMazon on a cup of wine. He's the one whom is Mevarech. So the story says, who's going to say the bracha on this meal? So the story says that they go to Avraham Avinu and say to Avraham Avinu, can you do the zimun, the bracha for the Birkat HaMazon? He says, I'm sorry, I can't do it, because from me came Ishmael, something not pure. So who's next in line? They go to Yitzchak. So they say to Yitzchak, can you be the person who does the zimun? He says, I'm very sorry, from me came Esav, I cannot do it. And then the story continues with Yitzchak and Moshe and Aaron, and then it comes to David HaMelech. But nevertheless, we see that from Avraham Avinu, the man of chesed, he says, I'm sorry, Ishmael came out from me. Something's wrong here. Yaakov was the only one that the Torah says, mitato hayta shlema. Mitato, not his death, mita, the bed. He had 12 tribes, they're all tzaddikim. Nothing came pasul, nothing came disqualified here. A lot of people are not aware of that, but Yaakov Avinu had 25 kids, not only 12 kids. Because every tribe was born with a twin girl. And after that, he had another girl, Dinah. So he had 25 kids, a lot of food, a lot of clothes for the kids. But nevertheless, Yaakov, his mitah, his bed was complete. Nothing came out pasul, nothing came out disqualified like Ishmael or Esav. Now, when somebody is very extreme, in Hebrew we call it kitzoni. When some people you see that even when they're observant, very, very extreme. I know a lot of people, when I tell people, I'm not extreme, they look at me, you're not extreme, look how you look. So I'm not extreme. Extreme is when you take something too sharp to one direction or too sharp to a different direction. This is extremely unhealthy in anything that you do. The right way is to be balanced in the middle. Not to be too extreme to this side, not to be extreme to this side. The fact that I have a long beard doesn't mean I'm extreme. It just means that I'm aware of what means every mitzvah, and I understand the meaning behind it, and I don't want to miss anything. I have only 70, 80 years in this world. I'm not missing 1 second here of a mitzvah. Why should I not collect? This world is a place where they give you 67 years to collect diamonds. If you now had an opportunity to go around on the street and pick up diamonds, you will be going in all day long picking up diamonds. This is this world. But nevertheless, the Torah tells us that extreme to any direction is very unhealthy. You have to be balanced. Balance, even if you extreme, look at Avraham Avinu. He was extreme to chesed. His kindness was with no boundaries. When a person is extreme, the other side of holiness have control over him, even if it's something very positive. So Avraham Avinu was extreme into kindness, then Ishmael came out from him, something very negative. Same thing with Yitzchak. He was extreme to gvura, to severity, so he had possession. The other side of holiness had possession and was able to bring Esav out of him. The perfect place is to be centered. This is called in Hebrew izun. Izun means balance. Most people, they're very not balanced in their life. The majority of people, not to chas v'shalom hurt anybody, but most people are not balanced. They're either tilting to one side too much, or they're tilting to the left side too much, or they're constantly swinging from side to side. And the entire teachings of Kabbalah is to bring the person to be balanced. Then everything is calm. Most people, their life is not so calm. They get very worried too much. A lot of fear or anxiety, or on the positive side, too much excitement. And the person needs to find always a place of balance. Now, how do you bring a person to be balanced? How do you bring yourself to be balanced? Most people, like I said, they'll be either constantly swinging from side to side, or one side is going to be dominating. Now, when we wash the hands from right to left, then we're bringing a good balance. I wash first my right hand, and then I wash my left hand, and I wash my right hand, and like this 3 times. This whole action is to bring stability and to bring balance into my system. Now, specifically I have to do it with water, and specifically 3 times. There's many reasons for the 3 times. I told you one of them is because the tumah is jumping from side to side. But mainly we do 3 times because we want to get to a point that my intellect is controlling my attributes. That the moach shalit al midot, that my mind can control my emotions. Most people, their emotions cannot be controlled. You want to bring yourself to a point that your intellect, your mind, if somebody makes you upset, you don't get upset. You let your mind run the show. Somebody hurts your feelings, somebody does something against you, you don't act impulsively. You let your thoughts calm you down, and you're the master of your own domain. Now, why specifically water? I said before, water doesn't have taste, water doesn't have a smell, water doesn't have a color, doesn't have a shape. Water is simplicity. It's not sophisticated. Everything else is too sophisticated. Water is very simple, and it has the power to bring impurity on a person. Now, when I raise my hands, when I wash my hands, I have to raise them up. When I raise my hands, is I'm symbolizing that I'm taking my mochin, my intellect, and I want to bring it over my midot, over my attributes. And that's the reason why I constantly want to concentrate of how do I make my mind stronger in my midot. The Ben Ish Chai explains, there's a famous story in the Torah that Yaakov, he was fighting with the angel of Esav. And then the angel touched his the nerve on the leg. Up until today, we're not allowed to eat the Gida Nasha because the angel grabbed him over there. The Ben Ish Chai explains that the fight was not a physical fight. It wasn't like a Bruce Lee movie. The fight was, Yaakov is the intellect, and the angel of Esav was the midot. It was the fight if the mind can control your midot. Most people, when their attributes are activated, the mind is somewhere on vacation. All you need to do is smell some good food, suddenly you're not focused on what's going on. You see something that gets you out of your focus, you don't need to give too many examples and ideas, then you lose your focus. Why? Because the excitement of the heart overpowers your thoughts. And this can be done in many different places, especially when somebody hurts your feelings, when somebody steals from you, when somebody does something against you, goes and talks behind your back, arouses a lot of anger, you want to right away fight back. Instead of your mind will tell you, relax, don't be so impulsive. But nevertheless, the fight between Yaakov and the angel was not a physical fight, rather if the mind can control the body, the midot, the attributes. Now, this is called moch shalit al halev, that the thoughts are much more powerful than the heart. Now, the Zohar says that a person that washes the hands, I'm talking about with soap, with the netilat yadayim, is going to be, it brings a lot of wealth, ashirut onto the person. Ashir with the I, not with the aleph, which is happiness. Rather it says mamash kipshuto, a person that pours a lot of water, that's what the Gemara says, that you pour a lot of water on your hands when you wash to eat bread or to wash your hands from after the bathroom. It brings ashirut. The person wants to be rich, make sure you do netilat yadayim, that you wash for bread every day and so forth. Interestingly, it says that why that brings ashirut, why wealth? Because the acronym of the bracha, al netilat yadayim, is, if you're looking at the acronym, the first letter of every word is Ain Nun Yud. Ain Nun Yud in Hebrew is Ani. Ani is poor. A person that doesn't say al netilat yadayim, it brings aniut, brings poverty on them. Rather than the person does the netilat yadayim, then he removes this poverty. Now the poverty can be in your bank account, and it can be also in your happiness. Sometimes you want to be rich in happiness, rich with nachat, you want to enjoy your kids, you want to enjoy your wife. You can have a relationship with your wife. Most people, they don't have a good relationship with their spouse. So the richness, the ashirut, is not only how much money you have in your bank account. You can have beautiful kids and not have a good relationship with them. So ashirut is with fortune, with money, with relationships and so forth. But the Zohar says a person who washes their hands every day, you wash your hands in the morning, and you have to say a bracha, al netilat yadayim. You wash for bread when you eat, you say al netilat yadayim. Very interesting, there's also a very interesting gematria here, that on the words al netilat yadayim, if you take the last two letters of every word, al, ain and lamed, that's, there's only two letters here, that brings you to a gematria of 100. And then in the word netilat, the last two letters is lamed and tet. Is lamed and taf. That's 430. And yadayim, the end is yud and a mem. That's 50. It brings you to a gematria of 580. 580 is the gematria of the word ashir, wealthy. So this is what the Gemara and the Zohar says. If the person does netilat yadayim, then it brings a lot of wealth. A lot of people are looking sometimes for loopholes. How can the business be good? Okay, so you get now a little tip how you bring wealth onto you. Not only in the business. I told you the ashirut is, now from now here I'm going to another lecture about how to have happy marriage, how to find a good other half. Most people are not happily married. And if you remember before you married, you want to get married. Then you get married, like, oh, that's a mistake I did here. So, but you want to have also ashirut, an abundance in your relationship, and with everything, not only in money. There's a prophecy by Yeshayahu. We say it every day when we pray, but in the verse, it can be found in chapter 63, and he said, Vainatlem vainesaem. Natlem is the same word of netilat yadayim. Vayesaem, and he elevates you. So a person that is very particular with washing their hands, the Kadosh Baruch Hu elevates them. So practically saying, from what we want to take from here, is that you wanna bring a lot of purity into your life. Now we're celebrating the Chanukah Habayit, a new house. You want to bring kedusha into the home. You want to make sure there's kosher mezuzot, sifrei kodesh in the house, that there's kedusha in the house. You don't want to bring impurity into the house. Not to the business, not to the house, not to the mind, not to any other place that you own. So what brings the most Kedusha on a person is how you start the day. You start the day the right way, the whole day is smooth. You start the day the wrong day, how do they say? What do you woke up today on the left side? So you want to wake up, how you wake up is one thing, is how you start your day. So I like when we learn something, is not only to learn the theoretical part here, is how to do something. If you come now to a class and you're just sitting and you enjoy the beautiful food that was served and you leave, so you didn't do anything, you got a good meal. But you want to make sure that you leave the door and you take something with you. If you don't take something with you, you wasted your time. You filled up your stomach and that's it. So this is a very, very easy mitzvah that everybody can do. And it's a mitzvah that literally sets up your day, how you start your day. And you want to start, make sure that when you wake up in the morning, what does it take? 20 seconds to go like this with the water. Say a bracha, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivan netilat yadayim. That's it, you started your day. You started the day the right way. And needless to say that also when do you wash again your hands with a bracha is when you eat for bread, when you have a meal. You wash your hands, and you know that you bring on yourself this kedusha. So your day is running well, your mind is thinking clearer, and your entire day is filled with an abundance. So Be'ezrat Hashem, I think it's the most appropriate that you now for the ma'amad, for the time that we want to bless the balabait, that should be bracha in the house, that the bracha should penetrate not only the house but for the minds of the kids, that the kids will have yirat shamayim, want to go to the bet knesset, to shul, and to say brachot, and to grow to the path of Torah. There should be bracha in the physical part of the house, in the spiritual part, that the bracha should be dwelling everywhere. So I think it's the most appropriate to take on yourself that when you wake up in the morning, you add another little mitzvah into your arsenal. When I became observant, I was looking for as many simple mitzvot as I can. It was very hard for me to do the big mitzvot. So I was looking for little mitzvot. That's one of the first things that I started is the washing of the hands. Every time I go out of the bathroom, wash the hands. Wake up in the morning, wash the hands. Takes you exactly 20 seconds. In the morning you say a bracha, you eat for bread, you say a bracha. You bring on yourself shefa, you bring on yourself an abundance and a blessing and brachot. And who doesn't want to be blessed with an abundance of wealth and health and happiness? So Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully you take from this not only a good meal, you also take with you something to think about. Bring purity and kedusha and holiness into your heart, to your minds, to your life. And Be'ezrat Hashem, you know, we constantly want the blessing of Hashem, whether it's in our health or parnasa. So Be'ezrat Hashem, this is a key for a lot of bracha. And Hashem, Be'ezrat Hashem, should bless you to be successful in everything that you do. That parnasa should be successful, the educating of the kids should be successful, the health should be in great health. And Be'ezrat Hashem, everything that you do, Hashem should bless you. B'chol asher tasu v'tatzlichu. Be'ezrat Hashem should have a very successful month of Elul. Now is the month of doing tshuva. And I'll take the opportunity already to bless you with Shana Tova and Gmar Chatima Tova. And Be'ezrat Hashem should only carry brachot with you everywhere that you go.